Okay, now that we've got our main shaft, the next part we're going to create is the pivot plate. There's an example of what the pivot plate looks like. Okay, what we're going to use is a piece of 30 by 5 flat bar cut to a length of 40, so we're going to create that from the material library again. So we go back to our folding shovel assembly, and what we're going to do is place from content center and we're going to look at square, rectangular, hex bars, and the one that we are looking for is BSEN 10058, that one there. And if we left click it once and click OK, and we can select 30 by 5, and the cut length that we want is 40 millimeters. So we can enter that in 40 and hit apply. Now it's asking us to give that part a file name, so we're going to call that pivot plate as an IPT file in that assembly. Okay, so we left click once to place that, and we're only going to place one at this stage because we're going to modify that part and then we'll create a copy in the assembly. So we press escape to detach that. Alright, now we want to create these features on the pivot plate. So the way we do that, we're in the folding shovel assembly, so we're going to double click on that part that we want to edit. You can see that all the other parts have ghosted out. So if we grab our look at button and click on that face, and we also want to rotate it clockwise, we can have a look at that. Now the features that we want to put on there are a little rebate cut in the back, a beveled edge, and 2 chamfers on the top, and a hole. So the way that we do that is to create a new sketch. So right click, new sketch, select that surface, and then we can project the geometry, which is that tool there, of that surface. You'll see you've got a yellow line as a reference point. The first feature we'll create is the little rebate down the back left there. So I'll just zoom in for clarity. Right click, 2-point rectangle. If we click right on that corner and drag out a rectangle, with a left click that finishes it off. Press escape and then right click, we can general dimension. So the height of that rebate is 8 millimeters. So if we click on the top edge to the bottom edge, click out there, enter 8, and the width of that rebate, same process, is 2 millimeters. Tick that, so we can finish that sketch. We're still in that part, and we can right click and do an extrusion. And if we hold down shift and pan that object, we can see a little more clearly to select the profile. So that's a left click to select the profile. See that grab arrow there? If you grab that or left click on it and push it backwards, that'll automatically tell Inventor that you want to do a cut and you want to go distance all, and click OK, and it will cut that corner out for us. See a nice clean cut there. Alright, the next feature we want to do is a bevel along this side. So again, right click, new sketch, click on that surface. We're going to project the geometry of that face, and we're going to draw a line. Make sure you click, you'll see a yellow dot in the middle of the cursor. That's actually snapping to that top edge. Snap onto there, and we want to snap onto that corner. Press escape to detach your line. Right click, general dimension, and if we isolate, you'll see that that gives us a white point at the end of that line, and we want to click on that edge, drag a dimension up, which is 5 millimeters, and tick it. Finish that sketch. Right click, extrude, select that profile that we just created, and if it's difficult to select, hold down Shift and pan your object until it's easier to highlight. Sometimes it's a bit fiddly on Inventor. Okay, that was a left click. Drag that arrow backwards to tell it it's a cut, distance, all. Click OK. Cuts that off for us. The next feature we're going to put in is a hole in the center. So again, right click, new sketch. On that surface, we're going to project the geometry of that face. Then we're going to right click, center point circle. Now you'll notice if you hover around, it'll automatically find the center for you. We don't want that because we want to specify it, otherwise it'll snap to it. So hover around until you get no dotted lines. Left click, drag out a circle. Left click again, press escape, and then we want to right click, general dimension. So if we dimension from the top of the plate to the bottom up and accept it, and I hit the wrong line, so press escape, and you can back arrow to delete that dimension. Try again. General dimension from the top to the bottom is 40, and accept the driven dimension, and then click on the whole center to the bottom edge, and I want that to be half of 40, so you can do a function, click on the 40 divided by 2. That way if you change your plate size later, it'll automatically keep it in the middle. Dimension from the left side to that point on the right side, and that would automatically driven dimension of 30, and then from the whole center to the left edge, and we want that to be a function as well, half of 30, so click on 30 divided by 2, tick, and that gives us our whole center. We're going to finish that sketch, then we're going to use our hole tool, which can be found on the top toolbar, or by right clicking, click hole, select the center. It's automatically putting it through the body, through all, so we want to specify the size, which is 5.5 millimeters, and click OK or tick it. It'll put a hole through for us. Now we just need to put a fillet on the top two edges, so we can use our fillet tool, select the edges that we want filleted in the operation. The fillet radius I want to make 2 millimeters, which it has already selected for me. We tick, it puts our fillets on for us. Now that part's created and finished, so now what we want to do is return to the main assembly. And you can see that we had those two parts there. Now that we have two parts, it's really important in Inventor 2016 to ground one of the parts so it doesn't all move around when we're trying to do something. So I'm going to select the main shaft as my grounded part. So if I right click on main shaft and scroll down until I find grounded, and left click that one, you'll see you've got a little pin now on your part, and that tells us that that part is grounded and this part can remain mobile at this stage.